Well, hello once again, everyone. This is Bob Martin, the RCSubGuy with the Nautilus Dry Docks, and I want to share with you a rather unique RC submarine project, one that probably not a lot of people might zero in upon, but that we were commissioned to undertake on behalf of a customer in Scotland. Yes, this is a version of the Titan. So, when I was commissioned to undertake this, I was fortunate enough to find 3D files of the Titan online, which allowed me to create this model that you see before me. This was 3D printed in high-strength ABS glass fiber reinforced plastic, so it is exceptionally durable and lightweight. Basically, everything is mostly four pieces. We had the forward cone, the stern cone, the body, and the skids. If we take a look at this, we've got access to the interior really easily via some magnetic hold downs. And then you can see all of the hoses that make up the propulsion of the boat. Looking inside, you can see some ballast weights that we've secured inside, but nothing in the way of flotation, because the watertight cylinder provides all of the flotation that we need. This watertight compartment was scratch built using resin printed end caps and a plastic equipment tray. Access is actually fairly easy, but you do require a flat-headed screwdriver in order to make it easier to get in. Just give it, insert it in the seam there and just work your way around the perimeter. And the reason being is because that's a nice friction fit on the inside. The entire equipment tray comes out in one piece. So we have a fully sealed forward section of the watertight compartment. And at this point, I want to mention that I do have a test hose accommodation on the front of the unit. Now, this is the plug. What goes with it is this test hose. And so once you get the cylinder all made up, you would remove this, press fit the test hose, submerge the watertight compartment, blow into it, and check for bubbles. Fortunately, this cylinder has had absolutely no leaks whatsoever. It is very, very well sealed. Now that we have this all out, let's take a look at the guts. So the business end of the watertight cylinder consists of three main geared water pumps. We have one set up for vertical, and we have our left, and we have our right. And these are windshield washer pumps, and they'll move water from these intakes on the outside through the hoses, and then out the other side, which connects to the hoses in the hull itself. We have some electronic speed controllers here, one for each of the units. There's one here, and then one on the bottom there as well. The other unit of interest here is the DC3. This is a depth control 3 module that is manufactured by KMC and distributed by the Nautilus Dry Docks. And this is basically allows autonomous hover control utilizing the ballast system, the vertical thrusters of the boat. On the bottom side, you can see our main receiver, the receiver antenna, and we've got a peristaltic pump here, which is in charge of the ballast system on the boat. So this pulls water in at a very slow and controlled rate, fills and empties the cylinder, and that creates your surfaced and submerged trim. And that's it. It's very simple, very robust. The other thing that's in here, obviously, is the main battery. This is a lithium polymer 3,300 milliamp hour lithium polymer battery pack. On the back side, you can see the intake for the depth control unit. This is how it senses the external pressure. And then we've got all of the intakes and outputs for the pump, and they're all coated with the appropriate hoses that you're going to see on the back of the boat. So to put this back together again, obviously to start the boat, you would connect power power goes into this magnetic on-off switch. So to turn the unit on and off, you swipe a magnet over the hull and it turns the boat on and off, which means you don't have to open the boat up every time you want to turn it on and off. Close this all up. A little bit of grease is going to help a lot on making this easier to make up and break apart. To get set up for operation, just simply remove the back and slip the cylinder into place. Now it needs to seat fully all the way, and that basically means that the forward edge of the bulkhead needs to go to the trailing edge of the hull. And to do that, you just give it some wiggles and it will seat. Sometimes it takes a little bit because it is a precision fit. So you can see now the proper alignment of that end cap to the boat. This has to be fully seated. Not that it would affect the actual operation of the boat, but it would affect the trim because you're moving it back ever so slightly. Now, if we take a look at our hoses, they're all coated with the appropriate input and output on the back. So we've got 1 dot goes to the 1 hose, 2 dots to the 2 hose, 3 to 3, and 4 to 4. That's it. Simple, simple, simple. Stern cone goes on, and now we're ready to take a look at the control system. This is a FrSky 900 megahertz radio system. Power it on here.
Welcome to Ethos. Throttle not idle.
If you have anything in the wrong position, it will actually tell you, and you'll need to adjust it before it will enact control of the boat. Some things of note here. We have some timers, and this is set up for the ballast system. Ballast is set on switch C right here, the large one. To dive, you would hit down. To surface, you would hit up. Very, very simple. In the down position, it turns on the peristaltic pump. It begins pulling water into the watertight cylinder, and you'll notice a countdown. The reason that this is in place is because that peristaltic pump is going to turn that syringe into a hydraulic piston, which has a tremendous amount of force. So you don't want to go beyond the limits.
8.
So it's counting
7,
down.
6.
When it
5,
reaches 0, you
4,
turn the pump off.
3, 2, 1, 0.
When you put it back to the neutral position, the timer resets. The boat is in its submerged trim. Now, you can simply watch the boat, check the trim of it. It is actually ballasted slightly negatively, so you don't need to use all of the ballast system. This is maximum. Don't go beyond a maximum of 25 total seconds. And don't go down and then stop, and then down and then stop, because it resets the timer every time. Just watch the boat, check the trim, stop it when it reaches neutral buoyancy. That is what you want, neutral buoyancy. Likewise, the ballast up timer starts when you hit the up switch. This is set a little bit longer because there's no harm in the piston bottoming out at the bottom. It would just simply create a vacuum, and it would actually seat all the hoses and everything even better. Control is very, very easy. You've got throttle on the left, and then your yaw input or your rudder on the horizontal on the left. And then your vertical is on the right. To go up, you push up, down, you push down. And the way that basically works, you've got your left and right thrusters here, blowing water out and back. So it's using differential steering. There's no rudders or anything like that. And then if you look on the top, we've got an outlet right here. And then on the bottom, another right here. And that is what creates your fine depth control utilizing the thrusters. And this was the magic that I was talking about before with the depth control unit. The model will automatically attempt to keep the boat at whatever depth you force it to using that vertical pump. When you take your hand off the stick, it records that pressure and will use the pump to attempt to keep the pressure at that point. So it will hover up and down within a window, and you don't have to have any input on the controls in order to keep it there. It's a really, really slick system. Let's take a look at what we need to do to get this thing powered up. So with the radio on, always the radio goes on first. You take your magnet and swipe it over this area, and it is marked out, magnet on off. Once the boat's powered up, you can do your bench tests using the controls. Just make sure that you've got left, right, thrust, and vertical, and you should be good to go. From a performance perspective, this model is not, by any stretch of the imagination, a speed demon. Just like the large-scale boat that it was based upon, it is quite slow and stately, which for a research submarine is perfectly fine. It will actually respond to yaw inputs really, really well. It'll turn around in about 20 inches just using the differential thrusts, which, by the way, only really go in one direction. There's no point in having it move in both. So this was a really fun little project, a big departure. I would never have undertaken this on my own, but having been commissioned by a customer gave us the opportunity to flex our creative muscles in terms of the propulsion aspect of it. The other thing that I love about it, though, was the implementation of that depth control unit, which is typically hooked up to the bow planes on a submarine, but in this case, we rigged it up to the ballast system. Works awesome, and I know I'm going to be using it again in the future. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, this was a departure from the normal. I'm glad we had the opportunity to undertake it on behalf of the customer. If you have any questions, drop them down below. I'll take a look at them when I can. I would love to hear from you. And if you did like what you see here, like and subscribe. It helps out our channel a lot. And it also helps us create more and more content for you guys. With that, I am going to let you go. You have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you next time.